Hey guys, so give me a second here, and I am just going to get everything situated for right now. I did let you guys know that I was going to be live today. I wasn't sure what time because, you know, things are hectic over here. So give me a second. Uh-oh. So, this one is going to be, it might be triggering for some of you guys. It might be a tough one for some of you to swallow because there are some topics where it has like a past trauma for some of you. Depending on where you're at in the spectrum. And, you know, we'll see. But if you guys aren't going to be able to watch this one, or you're going to have to come back or whatever, just let me know. And, or, you know, just, you know, watch this later. But let me know in the comments if, you know, this resonated with you in some way. We'll see how that goes moving forward. But I try not to do too much heavy content. Throughout my YouTube history, I've done like, you know, several more like mainstream stuff and more like fun stuff. And then other times it's more, you know, it's more of a, you know, heavier, more intense topics, stuff like that. I am just going through things here. Give me a couple of seconds. Yeah, I'm just going to move forward because I don't know what this dude is doing. But, yeah. Anyways, so as you saw in the thumbnail, it's a lot. And I know that a lot of people get upset because I don't praise a lot of celebrities. A lot of people get upset because they feel like they are being attacked because they worship celebrities. A lot of people feel like I think I'm better than them. And it's not about that. It's more so about using celebrities as an example of what actual society goes through, of what actual, you know, the rest of us, the 99%, go through, and them using and pushing a narrative on purpose to trigger our emotions, to get us all bent out of shape, to get us all worked up. And clearly it's working because I've noticed throughout me being live that people not only miss my point entirely, but then they want to label me as something and write me off. And to me, that's bullshit, which is why I've had to delete a lot of content. If you are a long time subscriber, if you notice, some of my videos are missing. Some of that shit is missing. And then you have some people saying, oh, well, she deleted it because she doesn't want to be associated with that. No. Like, I've noticed that since I've deleted those videos, the algorithm was pushed more. Since I've deleted, like, the negativity of those videos, and then one did have a copyright claim. And even though YouTube will tell you, you know, you don't have to do anything, it's smarter if you do something about that. And I realized that, you know, it's a waste of my energy, but what can I do? You know? So with that being said, I think the first topic that I want to get into, so I'm going to go, you know, heavy, light, heavy, light. So, you know, like, and I guess I can go in that order, but, yeah, we'll see how this goes. But I just want to, like, give you guys, like, a breather too, like, in between. That way you're not, like, you know, so overwhelmed and whatnot. But I'm gonna save the whole Billie Eilish thing for later. Let's you know, let's save that one for later, because that's gonna be a heavy one, for both sides, for both men and women, and you know, different experiences. So let's get this one out of the way, because let's be real, I could care less about these people. Okay, so Khloe Kardashian did a migraine, you know, she did a migraine commercial, and she basically, you know, she's been getting shitted on because everybody's pissed off because she's, you know, she's been with Tristan and she wants another kid, and, like, everybody's just, like, pissed off because, you know, why can't you just see the light, right? Why can't she see the light? And she's the only reason she's got a migraine is because of Tristan. Like, get rid of Tristan and then you won't be on a fucking migraine commercial. That's how everybody is taking it, which, you know, is pretty funny, because, you know, you got a lot of women that are, you know, single moms, or they've got, you know, baby daddy drama, and that's where a lot of women are coming from, you know. But I'm going to be, you know, real with you. She's not going to get rid of him. She is wanting to have more kids. And some of these women would prefer to get cheated on. Some people would prefer not to be with them, but just use them for their sperm, so to speak. That's kind of what Courtney did with Scott. You know, that's why she stayed with him for so long, and that's why she got rid of him. And now she's, you know, marrying somebody else, supposedly. But, you know, that could be what's it called? Like a publicity stunt. But I feel like a lot of people in general don't realize, you know, if you go deeper into this as to why she's so attracted to cheaters. You know, you had her dating Lamar Odom, and he was, you know, cheating on her with prostitutes and hookers, and he was supposedly strung out on drugs. And I say supposedly because there's a whole other theory behind that when it comes to the Kardashian clan. And then, you know, she, like, basically every guy she's been with always cheats on her. But I think people need to remember too, there's this theory that she is OJ's daughter. And okay, let's put this, let me play devil's advocate, okay? And let's put this into play. If she's truly OJ's daughter, that would explain why she's so desperate to look like the rest of the family, right? She knows she doesn't look like them. She knows she's taller than all of them combined. She's still taller than Kendall, and Kendall's like 6 foot, right? And she knows she's different. She knows she's nothing like them. She knows she looks nothing like them. So she's had a facelift. She's only in her 30s. She's done everything she possibly can to change who she is because she can't accept who she is. Now, think about it like this. If her mom actually cheated on Robert Kardashian, which is supposedly supposed to be only Kim, Rob, and Courtney's dad, right? Let's say, hypothetical theory, that she did it, right? Like, let's say she cheated with OJ. That's OJ's child, right? Technically, she's a product of a cheater, right? She's a product of cheating. So why wouldn't she be drawn to someone who's a cheater? See what I did there? Like when you're, even though, like, and people think that doesn't exist, like, you know, the baby isn't a baby and it's just a fetus and it doesn't know anything and it's a retard or whatever. And I know people hate that word, but that's how a lot of people think, that it's not a baby, that you can just kill it or whatever, or you can just, you know, act like it doesn't matter. But ultimately, it is a life. And when you're in the womb, you know everything that's going on. You know your mother's emotions when your mother is going through things. Like, I'll give you guys an example. Before I was born, my mom and dad actually got into it. They weren't even together when I was, like, after I was conceived, they got into it and they weren't together. I felt my mom's emotions. So when I was brought into the world, I came out distrusting of everybody. And that's because she was distrusting of the man that she was supposed to love, the man that she settled for, the man that she thought was going to be a good person. Okay. So when when I was in her stomach, I basically brought on all those emotions, that anxiety, that hurt, that you know, that anger of being distrustful of men. I took all of that in as a fetus. And to a lot of people, it's like, oh, well, you're really nothing and you're not even a human, blah, blah. Like, people will make all kinds of excuses, right, to justify their actions when it comes to pregnancy. But at the end of the day, that baby, that life, is going to feel all of that. So I always tell women that are pregnant, or that are, you know, trying to get pregnant, you've got to let go of all of those emotions because it's not good for the baby at all, you know? So I think that's what it comes down to. So, like, let's say she is, right? Like, let's say she is OJ's daughter, and that would explain a lot. You know, she's desperate to not be herself and, you know, run away, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. And I don't know for certain, but it would make a lot of sense as to why she's attracted to cheaters. It would make a lot of sense because she's a product of cheating. You know, her mom wanted to run around and not close her legs. Like, it's not, it's like, at the end of the day, it's not her fault that her mom wanted to run around and not keep her legs closed. Like, let's be real here. Let me go into my notes. So people cheat for all kinds of reasons, right? There's people have justifications, excuses. People cheat for so many reasons. I know a lot of people right now that are willing to cheat, that, you know, just have no fucking balls or have no sense. Man or woman, have no fucking sense to just say, I don't want to be in this relationship, or this isn't working out for me, or I can't, instead of talking to you, I'd rather be in someone's legs. That's all it comes down to. If you're not communicating and you're thinking about cheating, the relationship might as well be dead. Because the whole point is to communicate. And if you're thinking about somebody else, or if you're just using that person in the process, like I talked about yesterday about the review of And Just Like That, at the end of the day, you're using that person if you're thinking about somebody else constantly. You'd be surprised how many people are willing to throw away the good that they have in their relationship. They could have a good woman, a good man, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or bisexual, that doesn't matter. But if you're willing to throw it all away because you think, the grass is greener, but in reality, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. And I know that seems harsh, but that's how, I grew up with, my Hispanic culture. That's how we grew up saying that instead of saying the grass is greener, because that's more for like, I'd say that's more for like white people, that the grass is greener. But we say, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. I even had to explain that to my husband. He's like, what the hell does that mean? I'm like, the grass isn't always greener, You might think it's better on that side, but it's better to be with the person that you're with and work that shit out. Because a lot of people think, and I'll get into this with the whole Billie Eilish scenario, but a lot of people really think that monogamy is dead. Because you have a lot of people that are polyamorous, or that just at the end of the day can't say that they don't want to commit. That's all it is. They can't commit. They don't want to, but they can't fully say it. And it's okay if you're polyamorous, but at the end of the day, it's like a business deal, because you're supposed to get the approval from the other person. Because if you're not getting the approval of the other person, at the end of the day, their feelings are accounted. Because let's say you do get permission. Like I remember my husband gave me permission to cheat with a girl. So like to him, it's like, it's not cheating, because with a girl it's different, but with a man, I would be hurt because I'm supposed to be the man in your life, regardless of whatever, right? But to me, it's like, how is it not cheating even though it's a woman, because I'm not going to have feelings for her? That's bullshit. Because a woman and a woman having sex, it's more intense. It brings on more emotions, because when a woman has sex, she clings on because there's a chemical. I forget the name of the chemical. I should have looked that up. But there's a name of a chemical that literally comes out in a woman when she has sex. A lot of people in sex work, a lot of women in sex work will try to lie to you and say, oh, we don't have that, or that doesn't exist. It's bullshit. That's why a lot of them black out. That's why a lot of them get high. That's why a lot of them drink. That's why a lot of them end up ending their own lives, because they have had to block themselves from having actual emotions, that at the end of the day, it becomes overwhelming. It becomes too much. So for a lot of people too, it's like, oh, well, cheating is inevitable, because if any man, if he's like, they're like, I don't care. I've heard it so much throughout the years, but like a lot of women will say, I don't care if the man is, I don't care if the man is a good man. I don't care if, he's never cheated, or he's never thought about cheating on the woman, and he's a good guy. When given the opportunity, they'll cheat. Not unless you have a guy that's willing to not fuck everything up that he has, that he knows wholeheartedly he's not gonna fuck it up. He knows that if his woman finds out, if he even remotely even thinks about cheating, she's gone. So some men are like that, where they don't want to lose everything. Some men are like that. And just because you've never encountered them doesn't mean they don't exist. Or vice versa. If you're a man and you've been cheated on, or if you believe that women are just easy and women are pathetic and so on and so forth. If you have the right woman, a real woman and a real man gets their shit together. A real woman and a real man is gonna talk to you and gonna not run and hide in someone's legs. That's the reality of some shit. And I think a lot of people forget that yes, monogamy does exist. Are relationships hard? Yes, but they do take work. And in reality, those of you that cheat, those of you that are polyamorous, some of you take that shit for granted. And I know that a lot of people don't want to hear that, but some of you do. And I know some people that are polyamorous, but they're not like cutthroat people. Like they're not like, you know, let me step all over you so I can get what I want so that, you know, I can just get satisfied. That type of thing, because that's like a whole stereotype when it comes to people that are polyamorous too. That they're just these big hoes and you know they're um you know they just have no like they have no soul type of thing. But not all of them are like that. So that's like a whole stereotypical thing too, um, that people have. Okay, so this one's going to be a little more intense, but I'm going to play it. If you have ever dealt with, uh, like if you're in the, if you're an adult now and you were in the foster system, or if you've ever dealt with any type of death when it comes to a parent, or any type of brutality when it comes to like, you know, split custody or divorce, this may be triggering to some of you. So if you guys want to come back, or you know, this is going to be hard for you, I understand if you guys don't want to watch this. But the first video is the guy was on Facebook. I don't know if you guys heard this story, but the guy was on Facebook and he was basically telling that he was going to, you know, murder um, his exes to, because he was being threatened by them that he wasn't no longer going to see his kids. And he basically did it on Facebook Live that, you know, he was going to go kill them. And the first video is a snippet because I can't show the whole thing. And it's just an audio because I literally can't show it. And then the second clip is going to be the news portion of what went down and so on and so forth. And then we're going to discuss it because I think this type of thing needs to be discussed because there was a lot of unfortunate narratives going around, and there's a lot of hatred going around towards Black women, and it's not always the case. And then there was a lot of like I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of men who are in this situation where they have joint custody or shared custody with their kids are going to take this route because they were cheering this man on, who did a double murder and a suicide with this case. So I just thought I'd give you the context, and if you're not able to listen to this or watch this, that's understandable, okay?
Having my ex-wife say I molested my children and all kinds of craziness. Been fighting for custody for 3 years. So, you know, shit has been real crazy. What's up, Oliver? You know about this. Going through it with my ex-wife, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, started dating somebody new, and she got pregnant. And, you know, we got in a fight. First thing she does, threatening that she's going to do the same thing. You're never going to see your kids, blah, blah, blah. It's the holidays, man. I don't have no family, nothing. Anyway, I just did something crazy, man. I just shot my ex-girlfriend in the head.
Sunday night, I'm Jamie Costello. He announced on social media that he never thought he'd be that guy. But police say that guy gunned down his girlfriend in Baltimore on Saturday, drove to Columbia, where he also shot and killed his ex-wife before taking his own life. Today, police have identified some of the people involved in this. WMAR News' Jeff Hager has more on these tragic events.
Reportedly saying he would never go to jail, the gunman followed up one murder with another murder before taking his own life. Police say 44-year-old Raji Sharif Black kicked in a door to gain entry into his unidentified girlfriend's home here on Marshall Street in Baltimore's Federal Hill around 1:30 Saturday afternoon, and then gunned her down in cold blood.
Again, we're talking about an instance where someone simply just can't resolve a domestic conflict in a better way. And we have to get to a point where we're all holding people accountable that we know that we can move on in our lives. People can move on in their lives, and you should not be able to take their life away.
But Black wasn't finished just yet. Police say he then drove to the house of his ex-wife, 42-year-old Wendy Natalie Black, in Columbia, announcing his intention to kill her as well as killing himself on social media. Seconds later, he did just that. A matter of minutes before Baltimore police called their counterparts in Howard County to try to warn them that he'd be heading their way.
Howard County Police were called to the 7300 block of Edenbrook Drive here in Columbia just after 2 o'clock today. The call came in that shots had been fired in the area. When our officers arrived, they found 2 people deceased in the vestibule of an apartment building here in the area.
We have also learned that Black had his 2 young children in his car when he drove to Howard County. Fortunately, they did not witness any of the violence. Police discovered them in a car in the parking lot outside where he claimed the second life and then took his own.
Okay, so the biggest thing that people had an issue with, unfortunately, is that a lot of men, the majority were, yes, were Black, and obviously the others were non-Black. But for some reason, before actually digging into the story and finding things out, the first ex was obviously Black, but then the second one was Asian. So I don't know why there was so much hatred towards Black women, saying that this is what happens when you fuck with Black women, like women are like these women you want to watch out for. This is the shit that you're gonna deal with, blah 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 blah. And I get that a lot of men are hateful. I get that a lot of men are bitter. I get that a lot of men are miserable. I get that. But you don't need to spin a narrative that's not only not there, but don't Black women go through enough? Like seriously, like I get that there's a lot of hatred right now, and you see that all over YouTube. You see that all over social media, where there's a divide amongst the Black community, and it's really disheartening because it's not fair to the kids. It's not fair to the future generations yet to come. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was really sad that, you know, a lot of men are spewing this hate, knowing that they have kids, knowing that they eventually are going to have a relationship with women. Do you see what I'm saying? So I get that you're in your feelings and you're in the heat of the moment. I get that. But at the same time, what exactly are we doing? Do you see what I'm saying? So I thought that was really, really, you know, disheartening. And I felt for a lot of, you know, women in the community that were just like, why are we being attacked when it's not all us? You know, I mean, clearly the first woman saw something and she wanted out and she wanted to protect her kid. And then the other woman was trying to protect her kids too. You know what I mean? But we don't know the whole scenario. And obviously the women aren't, I'm not saying that the women are perfect, but there are some women who use their children as pawns. There are women who abuse the system and just try to get money out of the man, or just try to just be bitter and resentful and hateful towards the man. But it wasn't in this case. And then another thing I can't stand is that we're using mental health and mental illness as an excuse to murder, as an excuse to take your own life. Like, to a lot of men are like, yeah, this was a good thing. That they deserved it. Like, seriously? So now my question to a lot of men is, are you going to be doing this too? Like, is this something that you're going to be wanting? Like, is this something that you're going to be enticing because you thought this was so great? You know, mental illness is not an excuse. I don't care what your problem is. I don't care what you're dealing with. I don't care if you have the highest level that there is, which is schizophrenia, which is more than likely he did not have. He wasn't so debilitating with his mental illness that he couldn't work, obviously. It's just that he got laid off because he was an anesthesiologist, and in his hospital, they were the first to let go because of the whole pandemic. You know, he was one of the, he was that their department was the first to go because they had budget cuts. Shit happens in life. And it's not an excuse to go out and kill people. It's just like, you know, with the whole school shootings, and, you know, now parents are saying it's an excuse to actual adults are saying that it's an excuse because the kids are being bullied. It's an excuse to go out and shoot people. I was bullied. I didn't go shoot up my schools. And then same thing with, you know, individuals that snap, that go to work and they get fired, they'd snap and then go back to work and go shoot up the work. It's not an excuse. Learn how to regulate your emotions. Learn how to fucking get it together. And then maybe our society won't be so psychotic. And I get that we are in a you know, demon times. I get that, you know, it's all among us, and it's consuming. It's literally consuming everything we take in, whether it's movies, whether it's, you know, just like we're going to talk about in here in a few, you know, porn, and, you know, not wanting to be in relationships and cheating. And it's literally everything we touch, everything that we consume, whether it's movies, TVs, music, even like the whispers in your ear, that's a demon that's saying, you know, you're not good enough, you're worthless, you're useless. It's still a demon. And people don't even realize that. And then those that, you know, just don't want to, no, they don't want to hear it, right? It's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. Like, call me what you want. At the end of the day, you're still going to be consumed by this shit. So a lot of people are saying that, like, how do we fix our society? At the end of the day, there's really only so much we can do to help people. We can't save everybody. We literally can't save anyone. The person has to help themselves. And me working in the, you know, mental health field, me being a, you know, credential support specialist, you have to make sure that the person is wanting the help, because otherwise it's just a push-pull. And why are you making someone help themselves? But the person has to want it. You know, and then there's a lot of people that are especially men. Men have the hardest time getting help. You know, a lot of men don't believe in therapy, or it doesn't work, or it's just a pain in the ass, or, you know, they don't understand them, or it's just a fight. Then find another solution. Find another way to get yourself better. It doesn't have to be therapy. Therapy doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes it's, you know, changing your perception. Sometimes it's, you know, looking inward, self-reflection. It's not always a one-size-fits-all when it comes to mental health. You know? And I don't believe in, you know, popping a pill, because that's not going to go away either. It's making shit worse. If you notice, you know, the pharmaceutical companies, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry with this whole, you know, the whole DSM-4, or sorry, DSM-5, and they've got the book that's bigger than the freaking Harry Potter books that got made up shit in there that, you know, diseases that don't even exist, and you're supposed to pop a pill or make your kid pop a pill because the kid won't shut up. That's basically all of the diseases for kids now. You know, because the kid won't shut up, or the kid is too hyper, or the kid, is too anxious. They're kids. They don't need to be on pills. But you have kids that are on drugs, adults on drugs. No one's getting along. What are we expecting as a society? And then nobody wants to talk. Oh, you can't talk about mental health. Oh, you can't talk about the spiritual world. Oh, you can't talk about demonology. Oh, you can't talk about celebrities. Then what the fuck are we doing? Like, seriously, what are we doing as a society if we're not getting together and figuring it out? Some communities are. Some communities, if you actually look outside of the realms of celebrities, look outside of the realms of conspiracy theories, look outside of the realms of, you know, the popular topics of our society on the internet, online, doesn't matter what platform you pick. If you actually look outside of these communities, there are certain communities that are getting together and trying to figure out, okay, what do we do now? Because pretty soon the resources are gonna die down. Pretty soon we're gonna have to figure this shit out and figure out what we're doing here to protect ourselves, to protect our family, to have enough food on the table, to make sure that we're in good health, to make sure we can protect ourselves if shit hits the fan. You know, there are actual communities like right now that are trying to figure it out and trying to get together and trying to brainstorm ideas and trade ideas and, you know, this works for me or this didn't work for me, or I'm doing this, maybe you should try this, or I'm like, you know what I'm saying? There are actual communities out there. It might not seem like that because the media is pushing something different and a lot of people are following suit because they're following it, right? They're basically, you know, I don't know what else to do. I can't think for myself, or I don't want to think for myself, so I'm just going to follow whatever the fuck they're doing. That's the majority of our society, unfortunately. So I feel like a lot of people just need to think about, I mean, it's going to be 2022. Things are going to get tougher. You know, with the new variant, don't be surprised if there's another lockdown. With the new variant, don't be surprised if things are going to be stricter as far as resources. Don't be surprised if they come out with a new narrative. Oh, the ships aren't working. Oh, well, the internet's gone or the internet's down. Like, there's going to be a lot of things going on. It's going to get crazier. You thought 2021 was crazy. We're not done. I don't care if they get rid of coronavirus. We're not done with this whole thing that's coming. So I think people just need to figure out where they're at in life, especially when it comes to their mental state. And it's tough out there. There's a lot of people that are homeless. There's a lot of people that haven't eaten a meal. There are a lot of people that don't know when their next meal is going to come. There are a lot of people that, you know, basically lost everything because of the virus. There are a lot of people that lost hope, that gave up on themselves and relapsed. I saw a lot of that. I lost a few friends in 2020 because of an overdose. Because they were just like, fuck this shit. I'm done. I mean, obviously there's a lot that played into that, but still, you know, still. So I think we just need to, you know, just breathe and just come back to and figure this shit out. Because it's not over yet. Your life isn't over yet, so stop acting like it is. Okay, so I'm going to try to do something a little more positive, okay? Let me get into something different, something a little more positive, okay? So I wanted to talk about this because a few of my supporters wanted me to discuss this. So give me a second. I have to blow this up. So if I look funny, that's why. Okay. If I select it, then I know where I'm at. Okay. So the Challenge All Stars came out. It came out recently that there was a challenger named Kendall. Now I she's got like 2 different names on her Instagram, so I don't want to say the wrong one. But it turns out she has the same type of Ehlers-Danlos loans that I do, right? And okay, so that's Kendall. And a lot of people that watch the show know that I have this type of this illness, and I'm gonna take off the photo just in case they decide you shouldn't have that photo, blah blah blah. You know how copyrights are, but and it's not just YouTube; it's the actual company, show, whatever. But everybody was asking. She was stupid enough to be on the show because, like, would I have done something so reckless in knowing that I have the vascular type of Ehlers-Danlos? And she did, one of the challenges that she did, she had to jump. You literally have to jump off the cliff. It's like 30 feet, and you dive in, and then you have to, once you hit, doesn't matter how hard you hit, once you hit the water, you have to swim a certain distance, go underneath, like a certain amount of feet underneath the water, and then you have to grab like a bag, I think, from like a treasure chest, and then go up, surface up, and then put it in a, like, throw it in a basket, do it a couple more times, depending on your strategy with your partner, and then get out of the water, go up the ladder, go back onto the cliff, grab their actual puzzle pieces, retrieve the puzzle pieces, and then put it all together, and then your time stops. When she hit the water, she hurt her lungs, or not her lungs, she hurt like her chest plate. She said that her rib cage was hurting pretty badly. She hurt when you splash, or not when you splash, but like when you hit the water a certain way, especially if the waters are doing, like, the waters are rolling, right? The river is going to be always, sometimes the rivers, depending on where you're at, they're always rolling. They're never going to be still, because it's just nature. You can't stop nature. You can't control it. So she hit pretty hard, and then, she was out of the game by the end of the show because she kept saying, it's not a big deal. I've dealt with this connective tissue disorder for years, and it's not a big deal, and I should be fine. And that's why a lot of my supporters were like, why would she do this? Like, was she this ignorant of her own illness? Or was she in denial of, how serious this illness actually is? I'm not going to say that she was dumb for being on the show. I'm not going to say that she was, an idiot for being on the show, because I don't know her personally. I don't know if she only has vascular Ehlers-Danlos alone, or if she has any other things that are connected with that. But if you're active, you want to stay active for as long as you can. Now, mind you, before I got the basically the diagnosis, or like basically the alarm that, my doctor said, this is it, like, you're no longer responding to treatment, you just gotta get your life in order as to how you want to live the rest of your life, type of deal. Before all of that, I was running 9 to 10 miles a day. This was 3 years ago when I got the news that stop responding to treatments. It's time to, you can't rely on doctors anymore because there's really nothing they can do. I can't even take morphine, which is like the most powerful drug known to man, right? It's about the most powerful pain drug known to man that's supposed to help people, even people that have cancer. It does nothing for me. And from my experience with, the friends that I've lost to this illness, you want to be as active and try to live your life as best as you can, like the way you normally have, for as long as you can, because there is going to be a point where they're at the end and you're at the final stage and you start having, the crazy complications that are never ending until you're basically is your body is breaking down to the point where you're done. You're basically done. And the reason I put connective tissue disorder in quotes is because that is the most basic medical term that is used for Ehlers-Danlos. The doctors want to act like it's not a big deal, yet we're dying like flies. We're dropping like flies. And at the end of the day, there's really nothing they can do for us. But to say that it's a connective tissue disorder, like we don't mean anything or we're useless regardless, is so messed up on so many levels. Because you got a lot of doctors, especially in America, that have this God complex, like they're above you because they have a fucking piece of paper, which I'm talking about the, degree. They're above you because of a piece of paper. It's a piece of paper. You've got nothing on me, dude, because at the end of the day, when we both die, one of us goes one way, one of us goes the other way. It just depends on what you believe in. So I don't know why a piece of paper, you're above. No, it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. So I don't know her case. I don't know her as an individual. But I was impressed that, she did really well. She came really far in the challenge, and I had no idea she had the veg. I had no idea she was even a part of, the community. I had no idea. But I think that, her, like, I give her props because she's got 3 kids, and having Ehlers-Danlos and being able to push out a baby, that takes a lot out of you, And maybe she wasn't diagnosed until after the kids. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this illness is always in your it's always been in your system. It's just that it takes doctors a long time to figure it out, and it takes doctors quite of a long time to realize that you have something wrong with you. For years they told me that I had growing pains, which is, bullshit in itself. It's just, doctor's excuse to get their way. Okay, so the last 2 things that I want to get into before Billie Eilish. Okay, so let me do this one first, because otherwise this one's not going to make sense. So you guys remember Juicy Smoulier, as everyone else calls him, Jussie, but I call him Juicy because I saw the Dave Chappelle thing, so his name is Juicy in my eyes. So I feel like a lot of people, were, him and his whole crazy story of him, lying about being in Chicago. Nobody's outside in 10 below weather trying to hold on to a Subway sandwich. And he still had the sandwich, by the way, when he got supposedly attacked and had a noose around his neck and was being thrown acid or whatever. Like, that's a crazy, elaborate shenanigan scenario that you got going there. But, after you were attacked by everything, you still held on to your sandwich. That's got to take skill, huh? But he did get the guilty verdict, and everyone is saying that his sentencing should not be jail time, because if he gets jail time, he's going to have fun in there. This is coming from gay men, and I would rather respect and take a gay man's word over anything, because at least they're being realistic about this shit. And I think that people think that, his career is over. It's not. How Hollywood is. They prefer criminals. They prefer to, act like the criminals are the victims, and, It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're, you get charged for sex crimes, whether you kill somebody or it doesn't really matter how deviant you are and how much of a demon you want to be. They're praised and they get a lot out of this. They probably get a bag out of it and so on and so forth. And I feel like a lot of people are right that he's not going to get anything out of this. I'd be amazed if he gets like a year or two, but I'm pretty sure that they're just going to put him on probation and whatnot. Okay, now let me go back to Megan. And we all know the story of Megan Thee Stallion and her pretending to be shot, and as it turns out, she wasn't shot. So I consider her the woman version of Juicy Smoulier, because she was crying that she got shot and everybody was making fun of her, and she's claiming that Black women need to be defended and Black women need to be protected. But at the end of the day, how does she want women to protect her if she wouldn't even protect herself by telling the cops what really happened? So there's a lot of missteps in her story, just like Juicy. So to me, it's like they're trying to spin a narrative. A lot of these celebrities are just bored. They got, they're being thrown a certain amount of cash. Do this and we'll give you a certain amount of money, and we need a distraction. We need to do what the fuck we need to do to get ahead or whatever. So it turns out that she did lie. And obviously, her story didn't add up either. And I know that a lot of people that were on Jussie and Megan's side, and a lot of people that are on the Kardashian sides want to think otherwise, but at the end of the day, you're not really clearly seeing what's going on, So I think that a lot of people need to remember too, is that a lot of this has to do with money. A lot of this has to do with corporation. They are slaves. They're modern day slaves. They get told to do one thing and put out a scenario, put out a story, make everybody in a frenzy and a divide as a distraction from their lives. But in reality, it's a distraction from what they're moving forward with. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to give you guys a different perspective. So it is what it is. You can listen to me, not listen to me, think I'm crazy. I really don't give a shit. So I think, with the next thing I want to do. Okay.
As a woman, I think porn is a disgrace. And I used to watch a lot of porn, to be honest. I started watching porn when I was like 11. Wow. And, I didn't understand why it was a bad thing. I thought that's how you learned how to have sex. I think it really destroyed my brain. And I feel incredibly devastated that I was exposed to so much porn. I think that I had like sleep paralysis and these like almost like night terror / just nightmares because of it. I think that's how they started, because I would just watch abusive, BDSM, and that's what I thought was attractive. And I just didn't, it got to a point where like I couldn't watch anything else, like unless it was violent. I like didn't think it was attractive. And I was a virgin. I had never done anything. First few times I, had sex, I was not saying no to things that were that good. And it's because I thought that that's what I was supposed to be attracted to. And I'm so angry that porn is so loved, and I'm so angry at myself for thinking that it was okay. And it just is, the way that like vaginas look in porn is crazy. No vaginas look like that. Women's bodies don't look like that. We don't come like that. We don't enjoy things that are what it looks like people are enjoying.
Okay, so there's a lot to be said here. Yes, she was 11, and if you actually caught what she was saying, she was forced to watch porn at 11. Most kids are. Most kids, are forced. Some kids just stumble upon it, but the majority of kids are forced to watch porn. You guys know my story. You guys know, and if you are new, my father was a deviant, and I was groomed, and then eventually I was sex trafficked, unfortunately. And his whole idea was, I'm going to force you to watch it so that this is supposed to show you how to do it. This is supposed to show you, I want you to basically become a professional, which is bullshit. That's how I know that a lot of sex workers in the industry black out when they do this, because I did that. I blacked out when to me, sex was a performance. It wasn't something you're supposed to enjoy. It was a performance. And that's how I saw it as. And for so many years, and even going through a lot of relationships and being with my exes, a lot of it was performative, because I knew I couldn't trust them. I knew I couldn't tell them anything. And then a lot of them wanted to act like, I was a piece of shit because I didn't open up. You didn't allow me to open up to you by dogging me out, by bitching about every little thing, and always saying how fucking horrible I was and how stupid I was for every little fucking thing I did. But then I was supposed to open up to you about something that was painful that I went through in my life, which doesn't make any sense at all, right? So before I get into the nitty gritty, a lot of people were saying that this was fake. Not in the sense of what she went through, but it's a narrative being pushed. Because if you guys remember Howard Stern at all, because that's the interview, that was the interview was with Howard Stern. If you guys know Howard Stern at all, he's got some fucking standards. He's got he's always had, even in his radio days. He's on satellite radio now, but back in the day when he was in New York and doing radio for NBC, he would always bring porn stars. He had a certain criteria. You weren't allowed to be in his studio unless you were, trigger warning, unless you were, 110 pounds or less. If you had size, if you had to be like a D cup or above, but you had to be basically Barbie in order to be in his presence. And even at some point, his wife had an issue with it. But it's not like his wife didn't know who the fuck he was. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of the times, he always spins a narrative too. And that's why a lot of people were like, we don't buy... We think that this goes bigger than what she's trying to push and what she's trying to portray and give a voice to young kids. But because she's only 19, by the way. So, and a lot of people forget that. A lot of people think that she's older, but she's only 19. And a lot of people think that she's being pushed to talk about this to incite, pedophiles. She's predator. She's being pushed to talk about this because sexualizing kids is supposed to be okay. It's not. But let's be realistic. Kids are getting their hands on this. Back in the day, there was no parental guidelines. Back in the day, you'd watch HBO Max and they'd come on, or you'd watch HBO and it would come on late at night. And if your parents were asleep, they couldn't say no or stop you. There was no, parental, there was not a password you can put on your TV where your kid couldn't watch at a certain hour. And even nowadays, people don't put passwords on their phones or their tablets that they give to their kids. And there are a lot of parents who just don't give their kids technology at all, because that alone brings in, that summons demons. And if you have ever looked into what Elon Musk is all about, he's even said it himself that to bring out AI is to bring out demons. That's basically the gist of what he's saying, and it's real. So for people to say that it's porn that brings out, demons in you, and I forgot to put it in. I forgot to save it in the clips here. But when you masturbate or when you play with yourself, it's not just the porn in general. It's more so you're inviting and invoking. Incubus is a male spirit, male demon, and then I think it's Seducirme. That's a female demon that comes in you when you're doing these things, and that's why a lot of people push that you're not supposed to be cheating, be having multiple partners. That's why you're not supposed to be watching porn. You're not supposed to be masturbating. You're not supposed to be doing, and you're not supposed to be playing with toys either, because you're summoning all of that stuff in you. And then a lot of the times, like she explained, the whole sleep paralysis, that shit is real too. I've never actually experienced that. Like, I was surprised, that I've never experienced that. And I've dealt with a lot. But I've never actually experienced sleep paralysis. And a lot of people say that it's a horrible thing to go through. They don't know how to break free from it. They don't know what to do. But really, it's you got to get right with your own spirit. That's really all it comes down to. It doesn't matter what you believe in. I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care if you don't believe in God. Whether you do believe in God or you're religious, or you're just spiritual. Like, there's a certain way to break free from that. And obviously, I can't talk about that on YouTube, unfortunately. But if you guys need any ideas, or if you deal with that, or if you struggled with that in the past and you have to deal with that again and you don't want to deal with that, feel free to DM me. I did updates. You can either email me or DM me. Everything is updated on my About page. So feel free to message me if you guys have an issue with that. And it doesn't matter if you don't believe in God. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in anything. I don't judge anybody. I don't have the energy to judge people, to be honest with you. You can ask anybody. You can ask my husband. You can ask my friends. You can ask my supporters. I don't judge anybody. Life's too fucking short to deal with all of that. So the biggest issue with kids watching porn, I believe, is that, and there is a study out there, and sadly, 18 to 20-year-old men have erectile dysfunction and have to take Viagra. That's because when they were young, they started porn when they were young, or it doesn't even have to be porn. It doesn't even, you don't even have to go there. It can just be them, either being molested or just them learning at a young age to pleasure themselves. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous territory, because I think men forget that if you overdo it when it comes to masturbating, you lose your ability to function as a man at all. And to me, that's really sad. Like, 'cause really, that's got to be frustrating for men and women. And men and women have an issue too. Women have a problem with getting addicted to these sex toys. Whether it doesn't matter what it is as far as a sex toy goes. Unfortunately, a lot of women have that high expectation of being able to be, being able to come 20 times in I want to say, like, within a span of 30 minutes, being able to come 20 times, like, in like 7 minutes or 10 minutes, however long you're willing to do that for, and torture yourself, because literally that's torture. And then you're mad because you compare a robot. That's a robot, whether people want to see that or not. You know, whether it's a sex doll, whether it's a toy, that's a robot. You can't compare a robot to a human being. So then women are pissed off because they get with a guy and the guy didn't do what the toy did. Why the fuck are you comparing the man with the toy? Like, for me, I would prefer the man than the toy. But that's just me. Like, I remember my husband, he was shocked because I never used a toy, or I don't like them. I genuinely prefer the man. And to him, he was just like, what? Like, you prefer what? That's because most women prefer a toy. And I was never, I mean, I tried to get into it, but it's like, it's not the same. And because I'm built different, you know, me having, you know, the cough and McCusick, me being built different, and me being, you know, having gone through what I've gone through, obviously I'm going to have a different experience. So he thinks it's crazy. He thinks it's crazy that I would prefer him than a toy. But I think it's because he was used, before he met me, he was used to women being satisfied with a toy. And to me, that's bullshit. So then why are you in a relationship? Like, why are you in a relationship if you'd rather pick the toy over your man? Or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? I think porn can get to the point where it can be disruptive, and then it can be an addiction. There are men and women who lost their jobs watching porn on at work. There are men and women who, you know, lost their jobs, getting to the point where, like, everything is monitored. I don't even know why you would even try. Everything is monitored when you're at work, you know. So I think that people just get to the point where they just can't help themselves. They get addicted, and then they lose everything. A lot of divorces are from the man being addicted to porn. And it literally changes the individual, you know, where you literally become something that you're not, and it's because it's the demon, it's not even you. But I think Chris Rock said it best, that you've gotta refrain from being addicted to porn, because it's like you become sexually autistic, because it takes like 5 to 7 different scenarios to even get you to that point of pleasure. And that's because you've watched and consumed so much content that you don't even know what you like anymore. You really don't know anymore as far as what you're into. And the person that you're supposed to be in love with, the person that you're supposed to be with, becomes nothing, no longer becomes enough. You start comparing that person to what you see that's acting, by the way, on porn. And another thing I have an issue with porn as well is, I know sex workers won't admit it, but they play a part in child sex trafficking. They play a part in pushing that $1 trillion industry. They play a part in that. And they want to act like, oh, well, I have nothing to do with that. We do our own. No, you're a part of that. I don't care if you're a webcam girl. I don't care if you're, you know, a hooker on the street. I don't care if you're, you know, OnlyFans. I don't care if you're doing actual porn shots on Pornhub. I don't care what you are. You're a part of that industry. And there's a lot of unfortunate, unwanted, unwanted meaning for the girls that were raped and were filmed and not even realizing it till it was too late, you can't get rid of that content. Even if, you know, Pornhub or any other porn site deletes it, it's there forever. Because a lot of people, like idiots, download that shit on their computer, download that shit on their phone, download that shit on their tablet. Men and women are stupid when it comes to that shit. And that's why I don't even tap into the dark web, because a lot of people are genius enough to get these, you know, private networks that they think that they're actually private, and you're still being monitored whether you want to see that or not either. So be careful what you tap into. And that's another thing too, is that porn gets so out of hand that, you know, you start with missionary, you start with the, you know, the basic positions, and then it goes from that to, you know, bondage, and then bondage goes from that to bestiality, and then bestiality, there's no boundaries in which you won't tap into, unfortunately. You start getting curious and then it's too late. Like, you just can't, it seems like people just can't get themselves out, unfortunately. Until they've lost everything. And not everybody has a rock bottom. It's like a really, really, really bad addiction. Because not everybody has a rock bottom. So, okay, I think I've talked about pretty much everything. Okay, so when it comes to relationships, a lot of men and women have different takes on what constitutes as basically what constitutes a healthy, or what their expectations are sexually, or what their expectations are in a relationship in general. Some individuals feel like they need it every day. Some individuals feel like they need it a couple of times a week. Some people just don't know how to communicate with their partner. And a lot of the expectations sometimes, unfortunately, comes from porn. Like, men and women want their, men and women want their partner to act like that, and that's not how it works at all, because these women are performing at the end of the day. They're performing. It's like the business model in the sex industry is, we put out a product and you consume it because somebody's asking for it. So like the craziest, weirdest porn scenarios, and men, you know what I'm talking about. Some of the weirdest, craziest porn scenarios comes from, obviously, men who have either done this or who have fantasized about this. So the women in porn are basically processed meat, and they're the product, and then they're pushed through these different scenarios, and then the end product looks so real because they're faking it. But at the end of the day, a lot of my male supporters ask me, how can you perform and fake it at the same? Like, how is that even possible? The best way that I can describe this, me being sex trafficked and me seeing it as a performance, you have to black out, unfortunately, whether you are drugged or it's just your mind doing it on its own. You have to black out because you know what not doing it turns into. I was physically beaten. I was brutalized. I was tortured in the most gruesome way if I did not do what I was told, if I was not performing. And mind you, I was not even 10 years old yet. So you could imagine me trying not to cry, eventually you just feel numb. eventually you feel nothing. Eventually you feel like you are nothing. So when you're performing for men, at the end of the day, it's like something you get used to, unfortunately. And a lot of my supporters were like, shit, I didn't even realize that that's how bad it gets. Men don't care. Men that abuse a child do not care. And I know this seems hard for a lot of you guys to get. In reality, abuse porn is the number one hit on the internet. And there's a reason for that. Like torturing women and torturing kids and so on and so forth. A lot of people think that if you know, I don't know why people think that, I mean, a lot of people think that it's not real, or men don't get off on that. Certain men do, certain women do. Even women, yes, women do get off on torture. You know, whether it's other women, whether it's kids, like, it doesn't really matter, unfortunately. Like, at this point, there is no more boundaries. At this point, we, as a society, we dropped the ball. We fucked up. We really have, and we're letting these demons run rampant. So I don't know why people are surprised. I don't know why people are acting like this shit is new. I don't know why people are acting like, you know, like we've allowed so much in our society that all of this stuff is inevitable. And the only way to come down from this is to not let your emotions get to the best of you, not allow this stuff to consume you, not allow, like, you're gonna have to be nonchalant about all of this stuff, all of what's being pushed in the media, all of what's, you know, being pushed in music, movies, TV, so on and so forth. So I'm kind of glad that I am going deaf and blind, because a lot of this shit is white noise. And I don't have to deal with a lot of it. I don't have to really fully see a lot of it. And I think that's where my fearlessness comes from when it comes down to it, because I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm not afraid to push the limit. I'm not afraid to say what I want to say. I'm not afraid to do what I want to do. And a lot of people think that I'm reckless because I'm deaf and blind, so I guess I should just, you know, sit in a bubble and not do anything ever in life. To me, that's so dumb. So because you again, you have your expectations of what a disabled person should be, and they should not be anything in life because those are your expectations. That's such bullshit. I'm going to live my life regardless, and you can either be in my way or be out of my way. And I'm pretty sure a lot of disabled people feel that way too. Like, you're either for me or get out of my way. Like I'm not the only disabled person that thinks that. I'm not the only chronically ill that thinks that. I'm not the only terminally, fatally ill person that thinks that. Either back me up, be there for me, or get the hell out of my way. Nobody has time for any of this, like, this crap that people try to pull. You know what I'm saying? So I think I pretty much covered everything before I get into the comments. Okay, the final thing that I have to get into is the whole, basically the whole, like, people being soulless and people allowing demons to get into them, people allowing being consumed and all of that. There's only so much that I can say that people are going to listen. There's only so much that I can say that people are going to take into account, right? And I think people need to remember too that everyone has a purpose. You know, some people are here to be, sorry to be blunt, but some people are here to be demons. Some people are here to work the service of God. Some people are just here to be lost. Some people are here to give a greater purpose. Some people are here to be rich. Some people are here to be poor. Like, you get what I'm saying? Everyone has a different purpose. So I don't discount anybody, but the main people I discount mostly are public figures and celebrities, because at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about me, so why should I give a shit about them? So that's my whole standpoint. So with that being said, I think a lot of people need to remember too that it's gonna get crazier. It's gonna get like you're gonna be tested. It's gonna get to that point where you're tested, to the point where, you know, they're given a choice. It's either give in and give up, or keep pushing forward and don't allow what's around you to get to you. And I think people forget that. People just forget the little things. People forget the most simplest shit that's out there. I don't know where that comes from. I mean, maybe because they have been through so much within the last 3 years that they just, it's just too much, or they get overwhelmed, or they don't want to think about certain things. I don't know. But I think people just forget the simplest answers to their problems, or the chaos that they are around, or the chaos they allow them or put themselves in. So I think a lot of that is, you know, you're just forgetting where you're at in life. You're forgetting where things happen. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think I'm gonna I think that'll be it for today. I think that'll be it for now. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I know that this was intense. I know that this was a lot. I know that some of you guys don't want to hear it. I know that a lot of you guys don't give a shit. But I know that there are some people that I reach. And I know that, you know, a lot of people are going through some stuff. And I don't, if you guys notice, I don't beg for subscribers. I don't beg for likes. I don't beg to be pushed into the algorithm. I do it myself. And I have supporters who promote me. But at the end of the day, the main reason why I don't do all of that, and I don't follow suit when it comes to other YouTubers, and I know a lot of YouTubers will see me as pointless, and a lot of YouTubers will see me as, oh, well, you're really the reason why I can't be pushed, or you're really the reason why you shouldn't be on YouTube, or you're useless. I mean, I've seen a lot of that in other YouTube channels, where people like myself that don't really focus on the monetization, focus on the numbers, focus on, I'm considered useless, right? I'm considered worthless. I shouldn't even deserve a channel, so on and so forth. So I think a lot of people need to remember too that I've noticed within the last year, there's been a drop in viewership, not just for me, but for a lot of other YouTubers. And it's not the smaller creators doing at all. If you actually think and look around and think about what's been going on the last 2 years, maybe that's why your viewership has stopped. Maybe people couldn't pay their Wi-Fi bill. Maybe people are homeless. Maybe half of your subscribers are gone because half of them have real life shit to deal with. Can we stop and think about that for a second? Stop begging people for money when it's hard times right now. Stop begging people for your attention. And maybe they just can't give it to you right now. We don't know what other people are going through. And I see people bitching about every little thing. They're bitching about paying a certain amount of money on gas, but you're buying $300, $500 worth of designer bags, designer shoes, designer jewelry, but you're bitching about gas prices? Are you kidding me? I see people bitching that their subscribers are worthless and they're useless because they don't pay them their Cash App. They don't pay them their PayPal. They don't give them a super chat. They don't give them anything. But it's like, why are you entitled to talk down to me, but then you want my money? That makes no sense either. So I'm getting really, really, really tired of people bitching and moaning about every little thing when you have every reason to be grateful in life. You truly do. So with that being said, I think people just need to remember where they're at in life, and people just need to be grateful. People need to, if you aren't homeless, you need to be grateful. If you haven't lost everything, be grateful. That's all it comes down to. But people can't do that. God forbid, people just be humble, or people just sit and reflect and sit and think and not be miserable for 2 seconds of their lives. That's all it comes down to. So I will let you guys go. I know that a lot of people hate me preaching. A lot of people hate me saying what I need to say. And a lot of people just, I don't know, people just don't want to hear it. I'm just going through my comments. So give me a second here. Yeah, so Olivia is saying that she doesn't understand why people get into relationships if they're just going to cheat, or people get into relationships if they don't want to commit and they just can't really tell the other individual, like, why even mess with people in the first place. I think a lot of people do it because they don't want to be alone, or they get lonely. And then another thing too is they don't know how to confront people. And lack of communication is the biggest problem with a lot of people. Whether it's confronting people, whether it's actually having a conversation, that's the biggest issue that people have. That's not just one generation, that's many generations. I see that a lot, that people just don't know how to communicate anymore. Does AI has a lot to do with that? My generation is, and the generations before me, has nothing to do with AI. So we can't blame the smartphones. We can't blame the devices. We can't blame any of that. So who the fuck are we to blame AI when it wasn't even around with our generation? I grew up, with dial-up. I grew up with AOL Messenger and all of that. So I didn't even have what we have nowadays with Gen Z and all of that. But I feel like a lot of people just forget that. But it comes down to many different factors as to why people can't communicate at all. So I think that there's, many factors as to why, people just feel like messing with other people just because they feel like it. Or they think they're entitled to, screw up another person's life because they feel like they have power, or they feel like they can get away with it. There's all types of reasons as to why people, mess with other people, so to speak. I can't say the word. And she had to use a different word because she knew that YouTube would have disabled her comments automatically. You can't swear on the chats at all, or YouTube at all, I should say. Okay, I'm just Sorry, I'm just trying to read here. That's pretty much it. I'm assuming, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will let you guys go, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. I'm going to go into a deeper dive as far as Wendy Williams. Apparently, you guys want to hear that. Apparently, you guys want to hear why. It's a scenario whether she is. I don't know if I want to do a live or if I just want to do like a on-demand video when it comes to this. But apparently, a lot of people feel like she's being either blackballed, pushed out of the industry, she's going to be sacrificed, or she did something that she wasn't supposed to, so to speak. So that's why it's where she's at with the whole not coming back to the whole show of Wendy Williams. I think I want to wait further to see what's going on. So wait further to see, you know, just basically wait further to I don't want to jump the gun and figure out where they're going to put her, where they're going to, like, how the higher ups want to handle that, so on and so forth. If you hear my genius husband in the background who's playing video games and clearly can't handle it. So I will let you guys go so you don't have to hear that distracting ridiculousness. So I will let you guys go, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hold on, let me figure this out. Okay, so I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.